So Chrome is back. We don't have to invade anymore, right? Hey everyone, welcome to Prince of the Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with Dr. Stone, Stone Wars, Episode 7. And yeah, that question I posed there in the cold open. We could just probably head back. I know that this battle is inevitable and it's gotta happen, but like if you think about it, the Stone Wars are practically like they're gonna happen, but at this point it's just a matter of like, do we need to have them happen right away? Because Chrome being captured after the entire situation to put the phone by the grave so that Taiju and Yuzuriha could find it. Chrome being captured was the reason that they were pushing towards, going at the Tsukasa Empire at this moment. But Chrome has now escaped capture with some help from a mysterious someone who I still think might be Ukio. But with him back, they could conceivably leave, right? Because to our knowledge, the Tsukasa Empire isn't necessarily ready to fight them yet. And they wouldn't need to come to heads right now, right at this exact moment. So what's going to happen? Where are we going to go from here? Is the Tsukasa Empire going to, with the fact that Chrome escaped, going to realize that, oh, Senku and the others must be close by, so let's just attack now? Is Senku going to determine that it's just the best course of action at this point to keep going, even though they don't really need to? How is this going to go? It's interesting. Because we've got like all of the four emperors as the cop said. I can't think of his name right now. Yo or something like that? Something like that. But as he's called them, the four emperors, we have them revealed, and we've kind of seen them all in action, right? So it's not like we need to introduce anything else. It's just a matter of this battle's gonna happen, but we gotta hope and make sure that it remains bloodless, because that's kind of the big goal. No blood spilt, or at the very least, no death, but preferably no blood spilt. And again, I am pretty much 100% confident that they're going to somehow win Senku and them to their side. No clue how, but maybe that's where we're going to go next. Trying to, instead of figuring out how to fight the Empire, just trying to figure out how to win over Tsukasa. That's a possibility. Now, we've already gotten one person turned over to our side, and that's Nikki. But they were talking about trying to get others turned over, and we still haven't really touched on that. If Ukio is a traitor like I'm thinking he is, he would be the next most probable choice. But then what about after that? We don't have that many episodes left. You have to realize that. This season is shorter. So what else have we got to do here that's going to close this out? Because, again, the Stone Wars are only this season. So what do we do? How do we finish this out? Get Tsukasa to come to the Kingdom of Science along with all of his empire. How are we going to do this? I have no clue. And that kind of excites me to a point, because it's like, I have no idea how they could pull this off, how this is going to be concluded. And and not having that knowledge of any sorts, not being able to even think of anything, makes me excited to see what does happen. Excuse me. Makes me excited to see what does happen, and how it will surprise me. Because there's been a number of things, obviously, with the series that surprised me. I guess maybe we should just watch and find out. Seems like a fair idea, doesn't it? So let's get into this episode and hope for some really cool shit to happen. Um, and some really like big brain level strategy. So let's just get into it. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. It's like the instant I saw Taiju coming in and like actually physically joining the Kingdom of Science again, it's like the tears started flowing and they just would not stop. Like even now I'm still teared up. It's just literally everything in the first 2 seasons has led to this moment. This is what these entire first 2 seasons has been building towards. And we're finally here. We're finally at the moment where we can end this battle against Tsukasa. Of course, that means for the next couple seasons there's going to be new shit going on and new issues to find, probably new enemies we're going to come across somehow. Unless Hyoga just takes over fully as the main villain, because that is definitely set up, at least for now. Hyoga is being set up here, and we even see that look he gives after Tsukasa mentions the names of their fallen comrades. Hyoga is definitely a bigger problem. While Tsukasa has humanity to him, while he has goodness to him, it's seeming right now that Hyoga just doesn't. And that's kind of making me think that probably means Hyoga's not going to... He's probably not going to end up joining the Kingdom of Science then, right? Also, I just thought of something. In the opening, there's still one shot that we haven't seen anything regarding that hasn't been, like, explained. There's one shot in the opening where it shows, like, someone's mouth and it has, like, the cracks or whatnot all around it. And I was thinking, like, the entire time, like, okay, whose mouth is that? I think it's his. I think it's, Hyoga's. Because we've never seen Hyoga's mouth. He wears the mask. I don't know why I never thought about that before. I just never did. And I think that might even be like a little hint of sorts that Hyoga is going to be a problem. And considering he hasn't in this season yet, and we know he's an extremely strong, capable fighter. We know he's extremely, like, on Tsukasa's side. And now that we're finding out that he's even worse from Ukyo, it's like, yeah, it just makes sense. It just tracks that would be him. And that would be hinting at, like, him being the true final villain of this arc. So how are we going to win over Tsukasa then? Unless it is just going to be something that Hyoga does that Tsukasa doesn't even agree with, which is very possible. Like, what if Hyoga ends up, like, trying to use the lives of the other members of the Empire as, like, sacrifices for this battle? Or what if we just see him fucking kill someone? That would be intense. But that would absolutely be something that Tsukasa wouldn't agree with. So that would work. I'm just wondering if that is where it's going to go. But we fully have Ukyo on our side now. At first he's like, oh, I'm not necessarily on your side. But then after talking, he does fully join. And his one requirement, again, was, as Senku said, something they were already planning for anyway. It's like now just instead of their plan, it's a requirement. So it's like, oh, well, that works out exceptionally. Because they didn't want to take any lives either. They wanted a bloodless siege as it was. That was the intent. Tsukasa finding the phone doesn't surprise me. I kind of figured that would probably happen. And Yo just running off like a little fucking bitch is funny as fuck. Like, I didn't really have time and have enough, like, it caught me so off guard, I just didn't have time to react to it in the actual reaction. But that is really fucking funny. And I think it's funnier because he's a cop. It's like, dude acted so tough and was like this big, like, fighter who, like, get into all this trouble, was so quick and easy on killing people. But when actual trouble emerged, when the actual possibility of death, like, hit him, he just runs away like a little bitch. That's really funny to me. And it kind of makes me think of, like, stories I've heard about American police and how they've done things. For those who may not be an American, don't know about, like, a lot of the issues with the American police system, there's a lot of, like, a lot of the ways the American police system is run is very unfair towards minorities, like people of color, queer people, etc. It's stacked against them, the entire system. And because of it, a lot of times they're treated lesser by the police. The police will do things towards people of color and queer people and stuff that they don't do towards straight white people. They just don't. And there's been a lot of cases on this lately. There was an entire movement in, like, 2020, I believe it was just 2020, with the entire, like, George Floyd death and everything. The Black Lives Matter movement came out of that in specific regards to police brutality towards a person of color. And other people of color as well who have been victimized in the same way. Not just that one specific example, but many. But I've also heard the stories of how, like, oh, when these cops are, like, caught or when they start to be, like, fired or prosecuted, they start having this entire woe is me personality. They act so tough before, but when they actually start to face repercussions for their actions, they're, like, crying on the stand and have this entire woe is me, I'm being victimized mentality. And some of them, even just straight up, will try to, like, run away from the situation and try to act like a total bitch about it. So it's like that's really funny to me because it just it makes me think about that. It makes me think of, like, how corrupt cops here in America tend to act in a lot of these cases. And seeing as Yo is literally a corrupt cop who is known for, you know, brutality and killing people all willy-nilly, it's like, yeah. I feel like maybe that metaphor was intentional. Maybe it wasn't, but maybe it was. It's just really funny to me, really wild to me that that was how he went out. Also, Sukasa does seem to believe that he is dead, though. Sukasa believed that report. I wonder if and when Yo will return, and how he'll end up returning at this point. Like, what is he going to do, and what's he going to say if he does come back? I can imagine, like, during this battle, Yo just comes back out of nowhere, and Sukasa, like, has this surprised Pikachu face because he mourned his death. That would actually be fucking hilarious. It probably won't happen, but it would be great. But yeah, it's just, I really found that funny. Especially because they kind of built up Yo, and he's in the opening and everything. They kind of built him up as like gonna be like more of a problem, but the instant he gets like fucked with by Chrome using the juice and everything or whatever it was, and he ends up like realizing he'd be in trouble with Sukasa. He just bitches out. That's really funny. Um, but we see that Nikki and the others have brought a bunch of people to the to the Kingdom of Science, let's just say. And so the sides are a little less stacked than they were before, but the Tsukasa Empire still has more forces overall. But we did find out a lot more about Ukyo here. We found out that he is a pacifist. He hates death. It really upsets him, which is fair. Like, that is an entirely reasonable thing. Um, like, he just, like, gets really sad and upset when he sees people die. And so he's kind of been against Tsukasa's wanton killing this entire time. But, like, he's even acknowledging and saying that, yeah, Hyoga's worse. But we also see, like, when he was first revived and everything, which is kind of like the One Piece backstory of this series. Like, hear me out. Like, in One Piece, whenever a character is going to be super important, or is going to have a change of heart, or is going to, you know, have this pivotal moment in the series, Oda gives them a backstory. It always happens in One Piece. Oda is like the king of backstories, especially sad backstories. And in this series, they're doing kind of the same thing. When a character becomes important, they show their revival moment. When they're going to have like a pivotal moment that's going to turn things around, or is going to like make them be a bigger character and make them have like just this intense, like powerful scene. The creator gives them their waking up moment, their revival moment. And so it's like, I just like that that's a recurring thing in this series. We also found out finally what Yuzuriha's secret mission was, and it's a doozy. This is probably the thing I want to talk about the most here. Yuzuriha is a crafter. We know this. She's really good at it too. Now she apparently normally goes to make clothes all night long, but in reality, she makes the clothes super quick. The rest of the time she's away when she's doing this, we find out that she's been putting together statues, people that Tsukasa has smashed. Because Senku believes that if they can be put together, like, before they have a chance to, get weathered and whatnot, that if they can be, like, fully stuck back together, they can still be revived. And I was talking about, like, didn't Senku experiment with this? But I think what he did, if I'm remembering right, I think what he did was try to bring back parts of the statue after they've already been separated. I thought he said something about trying to put them back together, though, as well. But maybe not. But either way, he clearly has a plan for this. And I'm very curious to see how that ends up going. Like, what happens with that. But this was the last episode before the battle begins, before the final battle between the Kingdom of Science and Tsukasa's Empire. As we see at the very end, the first shot rings out. The cannon fires. The battle has begun. We're not setting up for it anymore. We're not building up to it anymore. We're not gathering forces anymore. We are starting the battle. And we're doing it by going after the Miracle Cave. Instead of attacking like the home base and everything, we're attacking the Miracle Cave because the resource of the revival fluid is invaluable. And whoever controls that resource at this point controls the stone world. So that is their goal. That is more important. But now Tsukasa and Hyoga know about the phone, and they're going to realize that they're going to be under attack because Tsukasa and Hyoga will absolutely know what that means. They're both very smart. They both will understand what was going on here. Shit's about to get real. Shit's about to get very real. And so the goal here is to do this without spilling blood, or more specifically, without killing anyone. Like, if someone gets a scratch or a scrape or something, or someone, like, gets a few cuts here and there, that's not going to be a big deal. But, like, they're trying to make this a bloodless siege in regards to no one actually dying on either side. Because, again, this is Senku's goal here. To save everyone. But that is exactly why I think Hyoga's going to kill someone. Like, when I left that idea there, it's like that was actually a thought I was having. I think Hyoga might actually kill someone. Now, the way he does it could be a number of ways. He could do it directly, but I think he might also, like, maybe use someone as a shield. Or he might just, like, throw someone in the way of something to get killed. I don't think it's going to be, like, a lot of people or anything. I think he's going to kill, like, one person. Tsukasa's going to see this and, like, not like it at all. I don't think it's going to be any major character, of course, but wouldn't it be interesting, though? What if Homura managed to escape and come back? Because I think there was a little hint that she might escape. The last time it showed her when she was in the house that had been converted into a cell with the bars and everything, that she looked towards the bars and all, and I was like wondering, like, is she planning to escape somehow? What if she comes back in during this battle and Hyoga like throws her away, basically, because she's super loyal to Hyoga. What if he tries to use her as a sacrifice? Even if it doesn't work, that would still upset Tsukasa. That could very much be it. Maybe not even someone actually having to die, but still. Maybe, like, just the possibility ends up being put into place, and that's what causes the problem. I'm very excited to see, because the thing is, this season, the rest of these episodes are about to, I feel, get pretty intense for a series that isn't normally like that. This series is normally, like, it has some action in it, but it's about the science. It's about the intelligence behind everything. As well as, forming these connections, saving people, etc., etc. All these different, like, more positive ideas and all. This isn't a battle shonen. It's a shonen, but not a battle shonen. It's not about the combat. You're not gonna, like, usually get that kind of stuff in this, that kind of violence and heavy action. The action supplements things. So the fact that we're going into a war, that the battle is beginning, how are they going to do this? Is it just going to be like a classic battle kind of thing? Or are they going to figure out a way to do this without, like, I mean, obviously there's not going to be any bloodshed. That's the idea. But on top of that, what else are we going to do to make this more interesting and more science-y and stuff? What other plans has Senku put in place? There's a lot of questions that go along with introducing something like this into a show like this. So I guess we'll just have to see. We'll just have to wait and find out. And before you even ask, Venom, because this seems like the kind of moment you would ask about this. Um, you tend to ask me a lot, especially in big moments like this, how I manage to just not continue straight into the next episode and all. Um, I don't have the next episode downloaded, so that, is part of the reason. But even on top of that, it's like, this is exactly the kind of moment where I wouldn't want to go on to the next episode. Having the week in between, or in this case, 2 weeks actually, because next week we're going on break, is going to make this even more exciting. It's going to make it even more exhilarating for me. When we finally get back to this, it's going to be like so hype. I'm going to be so excited to see where this goes. More so than I would be if I just continue straight in. Like I've said plenty of times before, I don't like binging shows because the wait in between, like week by week, actively like helps me enjoy the series more. Helps me get more excited for what's going to happen. Having that like patience allows me to enjoy what I'm watching that much more. And I understand like getting excited and wanting to continue on, and that has happened to me. There's been multiple occasions where it's like something has excited me enough to where I just didn't want to stop watching. Hell, I went into the entire second season of Centaur World right after finishing the first because I couldn't wait, because I was just so hyped for the series. And that's not normal for me, but it's one of those things that I I just couldn't help myself. But that's rare. Normally, it's like I prefer to wait. And most of the time, I'm going to. When I do 2 episodes at like the end of a series to close it out, like do 2 episodes together, or like when I do Adventure Time seasons and I like react to like a bunch of episodes each week, I do it for different reasons. With Adventure Time, I'm not doing it because I can't wait for more episodes. I'm doing it because Adventure Time episodes are half length. And so watching multiples at a time makes me like feel like I'm getting like I'm actually getting more content at for the time that I'm spending. It's not because I can't wait. It's because it feels better to do. I don't know how else to describe it. It just feels better to record it that way. Specifically with Adventure Time. Or shows like that, like OKKO kind of has the same vibe with that, but um, that one I'm finished with at this point now, though. um, but either way, with these shows, I mostly like to go at my own pace. When it's not something like Adventure Time, it has to be something like really, really intensely exciting for me to continue after that point. And sometimes I'll like record multiple episodes at a time for a show, that's not half length. Sometimes it's just like, oh, I'm just in the mood to do 2 episodes today. That's just a pure instinct thing. That's just like, I'm just in the mood for that. It's not something I plan for, not something that's like even a spur of the moment thing, exactly. It's just like, oh, I decided I want to do 2 episodes of this week instead of just one. No real reason, just wanna. So it's also not the same thing. I most of the time will not, like 99% of the time will not just go into another episode just because I love the previous one. So it's like, you always ask me how I can just hold off and how I can wait, how I can have this patience, because I feel like it leads to a better experience. It's really that simple. I enjoy the experience more, and I don't really have a desire to watch to continue on just because I enjoyed the episode. In fact, literally the opposite. I would rather wait even longer if possible to build that up. And this time I'm going to get to, because this time we're going to have a 2 week between due to taking next week off from reactions. So, yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Very excited for that. Um, but yeah, so we will be back with this in 2 weeks. And I'm going to be so hyped to see how this ends up going down. In the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Dr. Stone's Stone World? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.